You're live.
Okay, we're good. Okay, so we do have a quorum, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So we'll go to number 2, the approval of the September 24th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, great. Now we're on to resolutions and start with resolution 2429. Adopt annual budget and projections. We believe we do this every year, but Joe has something to say about it.
Just a little, we do this every year. So A, it's probably best corporate practices to adopt the budget annually. And B, the comptroller makes us do it. We need to upload a budget report and projections to the authority's budget office every year at a certain time of year. And that time is now, so we coordinate the adoption of the budget to be around the time of that submission. And that report is prepared. We've got the budget for 2025. Next year, it's basically unchanged, except we're accounting for more phase 2 as we're getting ready to apply for that. And we're better at spending it now, so we're going to be showing that. And then projecting forward, we're showing growth every year, contingent upon phase 2, the land bank grants from HCR continuing. I expect that they will for some time. They're got quite a bit of funding in the pot for the program, so it should take a few years to get through. All the way to 2028, where I show the largest amount of growth. Thinking that in the time between now and then, we're going to continue to get a little bit better at doing this until we grow to get a $1,600,000 grant in 2028. That's the plan.
That's very good. It's projected all the way out to 2028. You're better than most.
The comptroller likes to see that.
Okay, so does anyone have any questions on the budget? I know that Joe sent us an email with this stuff earlier.
We shared this budget over the summer as well, because they got tabled while I was out.
Yeah.
Like, got confused about that comptroller schedule, but, yeah, so this has been tabled technically, I think, for a while.
Alrighty, so anybody want to make a motion to adopt the annual budget?
Motion.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second? Is there any discussion? All right, who did the budget, Joe? You did? You did it all? Anybody help you?
Bowers helping
Oh, they did? Well,
a little bit.
well, thanks for doing that. And thanks, Bowers, for doing it. So all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. Yeah, and thanks again for all that work. That's pretty good, 2028. Like you remind me of Keith Ashby. You probably weren't around for him, but we used to meet every other week. And he was a lieutenant, he was a colonel in the Air Force. And we'd talk about the budget 5 years in advance in those meetings. He was really into like forecasting the budgets. There used to be like 10 of us would meet in a room every other week. But anyway, that's great. Okay, the next resolution, 2430, authorize memorandum of agreement with Seneca County. Let's get a motion, then we can have some discussion.
Motion.
Second, I'll second it. Okay, Joe, why don't you talk about that?
Okay, so the MOA is essentially unchanged in the amount of contribution to salary that the land bank sends to the county every year. and the responsibilities of the land bank and the county in this agreement. Basically lays out the county will provide resources to the planning department, there'll be office space, printing, my time, and a little bit of Caitlin's time, and all of that. Every other year, we are on the schedule for reviewing and re-adopting the MOA at Board of Supervisors in the land bank level. It's been essentially unchanged the last couple of years. It's provided a nice, consistent foundation for being able to do everything else we're doing. So now, basically, we're trying not to rock the boat too much and give us the ability to move forward with the same level of support that we've had the last 3 years to get us to this point.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the memorandum of understanding or agreement with Seneca County and the land bank? Okay, it's basically the same thing, so.
Yeah, I mean, I updated, I clarified some of the language. I mean, it's gone through many hands and many people adding things, but I made it consistent and it's in better shape than it was when we started, but the actual way it functions didn't change.
Okay. Alrighty, all those in favor of adopting this resolution, the memorandum of agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay.
That's also on the agenda of the Board of Supervisors too, on the county name.
The next resolution is 2431, approving expenditure of funds for 17 South Walnut Street and 55 Washington Street. Do we have a motion for that resolution?
Motion.
Do we have a second? Okay, we got a motion and a second. And we have some discussion on Washington and Walnut.
Sure. So now we're getting into the fun stuff. Gonna kind of talk about this resolution and the next one at the same time. But basically, we think back, we did the RFQ for development services. We hired Index Architecture, and they came with a team of engineers and a couple of different engineers and GC and everything you need from day one of development to getting something built and being done with the project. To start that relationship, we entered into a contract for an hourly rate to help us out in taking a look at all of our inventory and identifying good project sites and figuring out how to move forward. We've passed that, and we've discussed at this board and a few other places these two packages. The Flackborough one for this resolution in Waterloo, and the South Seneca Willard and Ovid partnership with Seneca Housing. So this resolution basically gets us into the game for pursuing these two packages as a developer would if we were, in Syracuse or Rochester or something like that. We're now playing the game that HCR is expecting us to play. So what architects and consultants do is they give you these proposals by project, by address, and it lays out what they're going to do and how much it's going to cost, start to finish.
There's a package. Sorry.
So at the same rate that they had been working, they laid out what it's going to cost for them to do their site plans, their applications, their elevations, their drawings, their everything you need to make this work. And then they go on to project how much it's going to cost for them to do what they need to do to actually do the construction drawings, the stamp drawings, the engineers, the real blueprints that you need to build the thing, to build it out. You need that in order to apply for the next round of funding to pay for that. So all of that is incorporated in this proposal, but we're only worried about the front end for the preliminary design to get us into the conversation for the next grants, to get us through local permitting, to get us through the design phase and all of that. So we're looking at for the 55 Washington Street in Waterloo and 17 South Walnut, also in Waterloo, with the Flagra project. We're looking at $30,800 approximately to do all of those things. And then we'll be passing the project on to Flagra, where they'll be finishing it. So the rest of the responsibility would pass to Flagra after that point. All these funds, as always, the first contract and everything that we're basically doing is funded by the HCR grant. So it's not like we're trying to sell properties and then pay for this out of pocket. This is being facilitated by HCR. They want to see these projects happen, so they're giving us the resources to push them through. And we've set up the pieces, and what the real intent of doing this now like this was to make sure that the board was aware that we're at this point, that we're at the stage now where we're seriously pursuing these projects. They're doing this work. They're going to get some line for applications. I expect we're going to be successful in these applications, and we're pushing forward.
Okay, I noticed the hourly rate. I think you got a pretty good hourly rate there. We pay that for an electrician in Seneca County, do the lights. That's a pretty good rate. Okay, all right, so.
$170 rate.
An hour, yeah.
What's gonna be done in that, with that rate?
It's architectural and engineering work, so like stamp plans, site plans, they're kind of come to our, when we need them the
The
most.
site plan and stuff been done yet, or?
They're in process right now. This is just kind of laying out the normal way for, we're gonna be seeing these when we do future projects, way further in advance. They're coming up now because I'm getting everybody pushed in line to have all of our I's dotted and T's crossed to apply for the ARPA funding, get that set up nice for next month. So this is coming up now to make sure the board and the land bank and HCR and everybody is aware that we're pushing forward with these projects in this way.
That's actually a pretty good rate, because I review all the vouchers and stuff.
Where does it stop? Where does it stop?
It stops,
You're gonna spend $170 to do so, an hour, $170 an hour. Is there any limit to the hours they're gonna use?
Oh, there's only so much money in the grant, right?
right, and we got approximates for the first phase that we're committed to, which is for both projects, is about $33,000. Could be a little under, could be over. HCR is reimbursing us for those costs, so it's not coming out of our pocket directly. If we don't win, if they're not successful in getting us the money for the next round, they have to stop. We can't pay them anymore. So
Well,
that,
it just seems like there should be a limit somewhere that it stops.
we can add
I think, well, I'll just point out that this appendix on the
Yeah,
back
right.
has a projection
Should
of
be
what
a
they're
not
gonna
to exceed
Yeah.
in there.
I'm perfectly happy to add a not to exceed.
Pardon?
I'm perfectly happy to add a not to
Well,
exceed.
then it should be in there before we pass it. The same way with the other one. You got so much, it should be not to exceed a certain thing.
I think we
That's
have
how
it,
you would do any other contract.
Esther's got something.
yeah, on the, I think there's some limitations in the,
I think on this page here, it says design development, 21,000, construction documents, bidding and negotiation, construction administration. appropriation. Right? That one.
Yeah.
Right there.
I was looking somewhere else, where are you?
And then, the second,
Oh,
in the middle,
in
the middle
yeah.
page. 5 pages, page number 3.
Two,
It
three.
says, once this phase is complete, we will not bill the land bank without written approval to proceed to future phases.
Right, so if you go right back to the bottom of page 3, the total for that is 33,800. That's their estimate. But that's for the phase 1. So if we today want to do not to exceed for the preliminary costs, I don't have a problem doing that as long as it's a little bit more than what they're projecting it's gonna cost. And giving us a little bit of wiggle room, because we need to get to the next part. But if we wanna put a lid on it, just to make sure, that they know that they can't send us down the road and keep billing us and billing us and billing us for preliminary design, that's fine with me, that makes sense.
Well, they say 33.8, so what do you think would be fair? 36,
And
40?
It just looks like they could keep going with $170 an hour till they spend it 33,800.
That's what I want them to do.
Huh?
That's what I want them to do. I want them to spend $33,800 and give me everything I need to get through everything we need to do until phase 2. And then I'll come back to you.
Why would they spend that much for what you want? That sounds kind of ridiculous of them.
And then,
But it's getting you to the point where you're getting the information and the things that you need to go to the next level.
right, so if we spend this much now, they put it together and we apply for $2.5 million to do the projects that we need to do. And to get $2.5 million, we have to pay them the $30,800 now to put the pieces together that apply for the next batch.
We may be more
Why would
safe.
you put $170 an hour? Why don't you just put some to
Fixed
33,800?
price, 33,800 for the task to be performed.
You got two different things you're gonna do there.
I'd like them not to exceed, their rate is their rate.
Right.
They have an estimate, they're pretty confident in the 30,800. For this one,
And the hours they're gonna
That's
play.
210 hours.
yeah, it's significant, and it's a lot of work. Like, they've got to come down here for probably at least one planning board meeting, if not 2 in Waterloo for this one. We're fighting with SHPO, we're paying them to fight with SHPO on this. That's a thing that's happening that is kicking me up at night. And yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces here. The SHPO thing here with this project, I can't fight them alone on it. We need to have the professional services and the support to convince SHPO that we don't need to remove the windows in the building that is standing there and put them in a new one. Like, we can get new windows. So things like that. So that is like the professional service that they're providing within that $170 an hour, is helping us navigate all of the things to get 55 Washington especially out from where it is and into where we want to go with Flat Road, back on the tax rolls, supportive housing, all of that. And once the 30,800 preliminary phase is done on this one, we're out. Flat Road takes it over, they do the project, back on the tax rolls, it's on their responsibility at that point. we're gonna be, at some point, transferring the property to them, we're gonna get a price for it, and that will be it, and I will be.
So, and that's, and not to exceed is a 33,800. That's what it should say. And
But
170
you're
hours.
concerned that there might be a little bit of something else that needs to be done.
I wanna give them some wiggle room.
If we can put something like, what, 40 or something?
I could do, I'd be happy with 40 to 39, 38, something like
So
that.
they've given us basically a proposal that it's gonna be 33.8.
Right.
We could approve.
Just seems
Could
like
we
they
approve
should
up
be
to
exceeded
40?
in
So,
somewhere.
and it ends up, if this one ends up costing 3,000 extra bucks, I would like to not come back and ask you for $3,000 of New York State's money extra. I want to make sure I build in enough buffer. So
Is that both
we can get it done.
places?
Yes, so that's 55 and 17.
So, all right, why don't we add 5,000 to it, how's that?
Whatever you want to do.
All right, well, do you want
Right
to
now with a 33.8, they can work 26 days at 8 hours a day, that's what I calculated.
So we can probably put in the resolve not to exceed.
Yeah, so I would amend number 2 in the resolve, says the board understands this is an hourly work estimate. Maybe something to change based on terms of Exhibit A, and CEO president is authorized to pay an extra actual work performed not to exceed
38,800.
38,000.
Well, it would be an estimated cost of 38,000, not to exceed 5,000 additional, right?
Yeah, so I would put the total amount you're authorizing Joe to spend here, so that's, you're adding 38, yeah, 38,000. So, folks, how you want to,
Do it as a percentage, vice a dollar figure?
Well, you could,
I mean, right now.
you can write it not to exceed 33,800, but the CEO, who is Joe, has the discretion to go to 38,000 if he needs, if it's necessary, something like that. Give him the discretion to spend the 5,000.
that's how I would read number 2 if you amend it the way I just said, which is, number 2 is gonna read exactly as it does, except for I can say not to exceed 38,800. Because in number 2, the board's saying, we understand this is an hourly work estimate, so hours could be added. And you're giving Joe discretion to go up, but you're capping what he's gonna spend.
Right, to Ernie's point, it's got to stop at some point. And I think that's useful. We can go to the architects and say,
I don't have a problem with exceeding to the 38 if,
yeah,
because this is an estimate, in time something happens, but I just think they should be a place that stops.
right,
Yeah,
So the
that's a
same
good
way with
idea.
the same way with the next one.
exactly. So we can probably apply the same concept to the next one. And I think, I mean, deadlines are useful, right? We've got a deadline coming up for a couple of different things, and now they're really moving to do some work. So we've got the deadline for how much they can really spend on this preliminary portion. It's
Someone's
gonna
gonna make a
be
motion.
Do we need a revised motion?
useful and managing the project, so I think it's a fair bit of.
Okay, so you're gonna need to make a,
Yes.
have to amend.
Another motion as
Make a
amended.
motion that we accept, what is 2431 as rewritten to 38,000, correct?
Yeah, I guess the cleanest way to do it is you make the motion to amend this resolution. Whoever made the motion accepts the friendly amendment,
Mhm.
and that's fine. Well, you make the motion to amend, you get a second,
I was second it.
and then vote on the amendment.
Right.
So go ahead and take that away.
So the amendment basically is to go to 38,800, add 5,000 to it. Joe having the discretion to spend that extra 5 if needed. May never need to do it, but we've got a stop. So all those in favor of adding 5,000 with Joe having the discretion to spend that 5 if needed, say aye.
And I think
Aye.
Is anybody opposed?
Then I would do the whole resolution as amended.
Okay.
You would vote on that. Are you back to amendment?
Now,
But we got it where Joe has to.
now
see it.
resolution, 2431 as amended. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, motion. Now, 2431 is amended? Okay.
Correct.
I'll second.
Second.
First and a second. Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, takes care of that one. Now we'll look at the next one, maybe we'll have to do the similar. Next one is 2432, affirming expenditure of funds for 1473 Pleasant Street and 2125 West Seneca Street. Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Second by Dave, okay, all right, now we'll have some discussion on this resolution.
This is a companion resolution, but for Seneca Housing and the projects in Hope and Willard. It's basically the same contract, or proposal, but incorporates those properties and has some nuances with the difference in partnership. The biggest thing about this one is the partner. So instead of Flagra, who at the end of the preliminary phase, we're transferring the property and they're gonna take it from there and finish it. This one, we're going to continue to partner with Seneca Housing through the construction phase. The intent, as we've been working towards for a long time, is to deliver in partnership with Seneca Housing a turnkey rental apartment at both sites. We'll build it for them, and then they'll take it, own it, and operate it going forward. So this is the first step in that. It lays out this preliminary design phase in the same way the last one did. I think this one was $400 less. So if we want to do a not to exceed for that preliminary phase, that works for me.
So you're talking about 30,400.
Plus 5, so it would be 35,400, not to exceed.
Okay, so,
210,000 is by Seneca Housing.
When we get there. So if they're successful in getting us the money, getting Seneca Housing money, because we paid them the 30,400 to get there, the 210 for the construction documents and all that, that'll come out of the next grant under Seneca Housing. We're working through the nitty-gritty of, I'm gonna be needing to spend that money on behalf of Seneca Housing to manage these people to build a house. We're figuring that out right now, but yes, at the end of the day, Seneca Housing, if we win the grant for the full project, that 210, 560 will be under that grant and won't be under this one.
okay, so we have a motion to modify the current resolution in the same fashion we did as the last one, adding $5,000 to the 30,400, which would make it 35,400.
You
The
need it.
5,000 at Joe's discretion if needed. Artie makes the motion. Will anybody second it?
Second.
Okay, well, we got a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor on the amendment say aye. Anybody opposed? Now we'll go back to the original motion as amended, which is resolution 2432. Do I have a motion to accept the new resolution as amended?
Motion.
Motion second by Dave. All right, any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye on resolution 2432 as amended. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right. Next. Number 4, CEO and President's update, discuss items. So first one will be the demolition.
All right, so the demolition for the RFP for 17 South Walnut and 1473 Pleasant Street, Willard, that's live right now. We're starting to receive responses in the mail for that project, and they're due October 30th. I'm hoping to expedite this to keep us in line with the HCR LBI grant and all of that. So to keep this moving, I'm hoping that we can schedule a special meeting sometime around Thursday the 7th or Friday, November 8th, to get 4 board members at least to come to the planning office
This would be to award.
to award a bid for
What was the date again?
either the 7th or the 8th, depending on folks' availability, or if you can't figure it out today with calendars and all that, we can do it by email and decide on the time and date. But yeah, we have that proposal out. We're running up near the end of the grant contract. I would like to get it spent so we can apply for more money for next year and future projects. We got enough to keep us alive and keep us going with everything that we just agreed to and doing these demos and all of that. But, you know, I would like to keep us moving.
Right now, I'm good for the 7th or the 8th.
What time?
What time you want?
What time?
I'm good.
Yeah, whatever time I'm available. I can do it early or we have a time that works best for anybody
Well, the difference of it.
available.
You want to do
Thursday, the 7th.
Thursday the 7th? And you want to do morning, afternoon,
End of day.
end of day? Anybody has a preference?
I'm good anytime.
4 o'clock.
I'm retired.
Yeah, 4 o'clock is always works good, seems to work good if I don't get stuck behind the grain wagons. But everybody with our hearts and corn and soybeans.
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Black work.
Time is good right now. Okay.
It's after daylight savings time, it'll be dark, they won't be farming.
Oh, yeah, they will.
I know.
Thursday at 4 o'clock, planning office department. That way, we know it's open.
You know we have a room.
Yeah, we know the room is open.
So the 7th.
And yeah, that's all we got for that one. It's exciting. We're gonna
Okay.
get those houses down, spend this money,
Got it.
clear the lots for these 2 bigger projects we're doing after the fact, but there we go.
Okay. We got that. Okay, Seneca Housing Incorporated package in Ovid and Willard.
We've already covered a ton of this,
Okay.
but the only thing specifically, with the proposals we just signed, all the professional service, the architects, the grants, spreadsheets, we're pulling all that together to submit to the trust fund with the ARPA money at the county. And I've given the consultants a deadline. We're gonna have the submission. It's gonna enter the county process for that ARPA money. We're shooting for the November committee meeting. That should be coming to the Economic Development, Tourism, Housing Committee for review. So at that time, we'll see basically everything that they've done to get us to that point. It's gonna be, the application is a seed funding application for the CERDI funding. So when we get the ARPA money committed, we can take that, go to New York State and say, Seneca County, their goodness and kindness gave us this $500,000 to make this project move. Give us the rest of the money, or else everyone's gonna look bad. So that's essentially the argument we're gonna be trying to make to the state, and why having the ARPA money is useful. It provides that seed funding. The state knows we're serious about pursuing these housing projects, and we're putting it all together through through these proposals and all that, so. Yeah, at the November meeting, that will be coming to the board of supervisors.
We'll draft resolutions and bring it to committee on the 26th.
Yes. And we're gonna have pictures, we're gonna have drawings, which I'm very much looking forward to.
And the last bullet, Black Rock.
We've covered a lot of this. We're still working with SHPO to figure out how to handle the historic nature of the property. It's very strange. They have responded to us. I think at the last meeting, we were waiting on a response, and it seemed like it was some time. They did respond to us, and had proposed in this letter of resolution or MOA, whatever the process is for dealing with the historic building, as a quasi-public agency as we are. They're proposing that we had to replace the windows, meaning remove the windows that are in the property now, put them in the new one when we build it. Same with the trim, same with all sorts of stuff like that, which is just functionally impossible. So the one good thing though is they didn't say, no, you can't tear it down. So what we're negotiating now are the stipulations of what we have to recover or save. And their starting point is you have to save the windows, you have to save the trim, you have to save the door frames, you have to save all this stuff, which is unsalvageable really at this point. So we have to convince them that we can't do it. Eventually we'll come to an agreement on what we're saving and what we're not, and they'll let us tear the house down. And we'll get there.
They're communicating.
They're communicating with us.
Okay, are there any questions on the Flacker package in Village of Waterloo? Okay. So we can go on to the attorney's report?
Yep.
All right, Esther, do you have anything to report?
Nothing particular, happy to answer any questions, but I think, just been working with Joe on most of these things, so let his comments speak for him, unless you want me to address specifically, Joe.
Okay. Okay, now we're gonna go to Michael, our treasurer and CFO,
I'll
to
try.
give his report.
I'll try to be as brief as Esther.
Yeah, you like
I
that?
admired that, of course. So, when reviewing the report, which is a number of pages long, I looked at the third page in particular. I look to find things that stand out so that, we can see like the larger items that move. And I'm looking at the balance sheet for September 30th, 2024. It's noted as 1 of 1, that's the third page in the packet. And I noticed that our cash had fallen by a little over $14,000. And also the Land Bank Initiative Phase 1, Year 2, about $50,000 had turned to zero on this report. So I wondered a little bit about where about $64,000 went, because it seemed like not a lot was moving. Quite honestly, 98% of this report is virtually the same from the previous month. If you go to the very last page, it's the profit and loss by month. As I wait to have my eyes checked, I appreciate the small font. But really, it's quite clear here, though. There was, if we look at the September 2024 column, so it's the second column from the right, and we look down under cost of goods sold, $2,452.96. That's to the penny. That's New York Industries for Disabled. But a large sum, $64,649.19, is found below under expenses, under legal and professional services. And that's also quite clear. I mean, it's bundled, but heating and annuity, about $9,501. The Annex Architecture, $12,258.72. And then there's a salary contribution that we make back to the county, $41,672.19. Those are really big movers on this entire report. So basically, those are the transactions worth noting. So insurance paid $700.
All righty, are there any questions for Michael on this report? If not, I'll make a motion, we approve the treasurer's report, Fred.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the report, say aye.
I,
Anybody opposed? Thank you for that report. And adjourn, when's the next meeting?
Tuesday, November
Good question.
24th. No,
no, the 7th.
Thursday, November 7th.
I mean, we
Man.
got the early
Oh,
one.
Thursday, November
7th,
That
but I
was a
mean,
good trick question.
the regular one.
Regular meeting is Tuesday, November
And
26th.
then your
The
Thanksgiving.
26th.
The week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that is, yes.
That is.
28%. Scheduling time.
So as that approaches, before I send out the notice and everything, we'll make sure we at least got 4 of us that are gonna be around. And I'm sure we're gonna have something. So we'll make sure we have enough board members to take action and understanding that it is Thanksgiving, so. So I do like to make sure I get that salary contribution paid to the county before the resolution goes in for the MOA
Yeah.
update. Make sure we've done that.
Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for coming and participating. Let's see, November 7th, we'll be meeting again in the planning office, 4 o'clock, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
And you guys on the board of supervisors, thanks for doing the solid waste plan, really. It's a long time in coming.
We've got a lot of thank yous in our email.
A lot of what?
Thank yous in our email.